The NFL trade deadline is almost here, and for the Chicago Bears, the next few days could define the rest of their season. Every year around this time, teams must decide, do they push forward as buyers, or do they scale back as sellers? Right now, the Bears find themselves walking that thin line between potential and reality. According to recent league intel, the Bears are leaning toward being buyers. Insiders suggest that, despite some inconsistency, Chicago still believes its roster is competitive enough to make a push, especially if they can tighten up a few key areas. The next game against Cincinnati could determine which direction they ultimately take, but for now, the front office seems more interested in improving the roster rather than breaking it apart. The biggest question hovering over Halas Hall is simple. Where does this team need help the most? The answer isn't complicated. It starts with the pass rush. Through 7 games, not a single Bears edge rusher has recorded more than 3 sacks. That's an alarming stat for a defense built around pressure and physicality. Despite investing heavily in Montez Sweat, the edge unit hasn't delivered consistent production. There are whispers that Chicago could look to make another aggressive move, similar to their acquisition of Sweat 2 seasons ago. General Manager Ryan Poles has never been afraid to swing big, but the key is finding the right piece that fits the defense and the locker room. Aside from edge rusher, there are other positions to keep an eye on. The Bears could use depth at outside cornerback, especially with uncertainty surrounding Jalen Johnson's return. Tariq Stevenson and Deshaun Wright have stepped up admirably, but the depth chart is razor thin. At running back, injuries have added some concern. DeAndre Swift's groin issue and Roscoe Johnson's back problems could prompt the Bears to look for a short-term addition. And while left tackle isn't a spot often filled mid-season, it's definitely on the long-term need list. Names circulating in trade circles include Trey Hendrickson of Cincinnati, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb from Miami, and a few veteran options like Matthew Judon or Arden Key who could serve as mid-season rentals. Each player brings something different. Hendrickson, a proven disruptor; Phillips, a young star with upside; Judon, a veteran leader who knows how to win. But the Bears won't spend recklessly. The organization knows their current defensive line hasn't lived up to expectations. Sweat's impact has been steady, not dominant, and Dayo Odeyingbo's move to the edge hasn't paid off as hoped. Still, there's an urgency inside the building to find someone who can consistently collapse the pocket and finish plays. Because right now, Chicago's defense is doing everything but closing the deal. As one analyst put it, "You can't blitz your way to victory every week." That's the truth. The Bears' defensive coordinator has dialed up creative pressure packages, but without real edge dominance, it's not sustainable. Chicago needs someone who can win one-on-one battles and give the secondary a chance to breathe. The trade deadline is closing fast. The Bears' front office knows it. And if history tells us anything, Poles usually makes something happen. While speculation continues to swirl, ESPN analysts have taken a data-driven look at Chicago's situation, and the results back up what the eye test already shows. The Bears rank near the bottom of the league in pass rush win rate, sitting at 30th overall with just over 31%. That number alone tells the story. This defense needs a jolt off the edge. The good news is that Chicago's interior defensive line has shown flashes. Jervin Dexter and Justin Jones have both improved as interior rushers, giving the Bears some level of depth inside. But on the edge? It's been a different story. Sweat is producing solid numbers but hasn't reached game-changing territory. Dayo Odeyingbo, meanwhile, has been nearly invisible as a pass rusher, contributing more against the run than as a disruptor. Injuries have made things worse. Dominique Robinson is sidelined with a high ankle sprain, and Shamar Turner's season-ending injury leaves the team dangerously thin at defensive end. It's not all doom and gloom, though. The Bears have shown improved discipline and tackling efficiency. The defense has also done a better job forcing turnovers, something that could help balance out the lack of consistent pass rush. But make no mistake, if Chicago wants to compete for a playoff spot, they'll need to bring in more juice off the edge. And speaking of juice, if you love detailed trade breakdowns, game previews, and live reactions to every major Bears moment, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We drop breaking updates, instant reactions, and insider-level analysis every single week, so if you're a real fan, don't miss a single upload. Hit subscribe, turn on all notifications, and join the conversation in the comments. The Bears community here is growing fast, and your voice makes it even better. Back to the field. One of the more interesting reports came from Aaron Schatz, who noted that while the Bears have problems at both the interior and edge spots, the lack of true edge dominance is what separates good defenses from great ones. His data suggests that Chicago generates pressure on only 1 out of every 3 opposing dropbacks. That's simply not enough in today's NFL. The challenge now is finding the right player without mortgaging the future. Veteran names like Cam Jordan or Matthew Judon could bring immediate help, while a younger talent like Arnold Ebiketie or Trey Hendrickson would provide a more sustainable fix. The question is whether the price tag fits the Bears' long-term vision. Some around the league believe the Bears could look to move one of their receivers or corners in a player-for-player deal to even out the roster. That brings us to a surprising topic that started to gain traction: the possibility of wide receiver DJ Moore being floated in trade discussions. It might sound shocking at first, DJ Moore's name appearing in trade conversations. But according to recent reports, a few insiders think it's at least worth monitoring. Not because the Bears are eager to part with him, but because his role and production have shifted since rookie standout Rome Odunze burst onto the scene. Moore remains one of Chicago's most talented players. He's reliable, tough, and a proven route runner. But he's also carrying a $23.5 million annual cap hit, big money for someone who's now clearly the team's number 2 receiver. His production this season, hovering around 330 receiving yards, has been good, but not elite. It's the kind of output you'd expect from a complementary weapon, not a top-tier star. If Chicago believes Odunze and rookie Luther Burden can develop into the long-term duo they've envisioned, it's not impossible that Moore could become expendable, not now, but possibly in the off-season. Trading him before the deadline seems unlikely, but front offices are always thinking ahead. Clearing cap space for future moves could make sense down the line. Meanwhile, another name linked to Chicago is Marshon Lattimore, the veteran cornerback currently with Washington. Analysts suggest he could be a fit in Dennis Allen's system if Jalen Johnson's recovery lingers. Lattimore's experience, instincts, and leadership would instantly bolster a young secondary, though his $16 to $18 million contract complicates things. Still, his recent play, including a highlight interception against Patrick Mahomes, shows he can still make impact plays. The question becomes, is Lattimore a clear upgrade over Wright or Stevenson? If not, the Bears might pass. The front office has made it clear they won't trade high-value picks unless it's for a true difference-maker. If the Commanders are willing to take a 6th or 7th rounder, maybe it happens. But a higher cost likely keeps Chicago on the sidelines. One thing is certain, the Bears are not done moving pieces. Ryan Poles has made at least one trade in every deadline he's overseen, and history suggests he'll do it again. Whether it's a minor move for depth or a headline deal for a pass rusher, Chicago is expected to be active. As the clock ticks toward Tuesday's deadline, the Bears' strategy remains clear: get tougher in the trenches, protect the quarterback, and find ways to generate pressure. The foundation is there. The belief is there. Now, it's about taking that next step. The next few days could determine whether this team is ready to contend, or if they'll once again be left wondering what could have been.